What's going on YouTube? As they say, if you don't succeed at first, try again. And this is the third time I'm trying T-Mobile's home internet connection. This is their brand new 5G gateway, and I gotta tell you, this is way much more improved than the other two gateways. Although they kind of got rid of a lot of the more advanced features, if you will, and this is more of a basic plug and play type of solution. Pay no attention to your connection is weak. I'm here in the office and I don't even get cell phone signal. So I did have this placed near a window and I was getting some really awesome speeds, but is this enough to get rid of your coax cable? Is this enough for you to have your whole home coverage based on T-Mobile's internet? Well, I had up to 33 devices connected, so I can give you my thoughts on that. Let's get into it and check out T-Mobile's latest 5G gateway together. Before we get into some of the settings and whatnot, just taking a look at the overall gateway, the 5G gateway from T-Mobile. It's a nice device. It's pretty small. It's supposed to be put right in front of your window to get the best coverage, obviously. And they do have an app, which I'll show you, that helps you set it up. But it really is plug and play. Once this arrives in the mail, all you have to do is plug in that power cord and you're good to go. Now on the front, you have this nice handy screen here that's going to show you your signal strength. And of course, right now it's weak. I'm in the office. I don't really get much connection here. It'll show you how many devices are connected out of 64. And this is a Wi-Fi 6 router, so your Wi-Fi 6 devices are going to have a nice strong signal. For more advanced features, guys, what I'd recommend you do is go ahead and get a separate router. Maybe you already have a router. And all you need to do is pretty simple. Just get an Ethernet cable. Now you have two ports on the back. You can plug it into either one of these ports. Plug your Ethernet cable into that LAN port of the 5G gateway there, and then get your router. This happens to be an Asus router, and plug it into the WAN connection of your existing router. And this way you're going to be able to use all the functions of your existing router except for port forwarding. And you can also use this as an extender, so you can connect devices here and you can connect devices here. This is not going to create really a mesh network because you are going to have two different IDs, two different SSIDs. But this is a way that you can use all the features of your router if you guys need to. Plus you can extend it, so that's always a little bit of a plus. Now in terms of range, I actually did have to connect my existing router just because where I am, there's a lot of interference. And this just wasn't cutting it, and that's nothing against T-Mobile's gateway. I do have a gaming router, and even with that, I still need to create my own mesh network just because that's not powerful enough to get through all the nonsense here in New York City. But if you live out in the country, I think this is going to be able to serve a two-story house as long as you don't live in that mansion. If you do live in that mansion, that's awesome. Get yourself a mesh network and connect it to it. You can also see messages if you get any messages like service messages. Now, I haven't sent myself a text message. I don't think you'd want to do that. But I'm pretty sure you'd be able to if you wanted to use this as a text line. And then you can change the language. But that's basically it when it comes to the gateway. So let me show you the app, and then we're going to talk about more of my experience using T-Mobile's 5G gateway as my main internet device. The application that you need to download is called T-Mobile's Home Internet, and this is available for iOS or for the Android. So head over to your Play Store or to your Apple Store and go ahead and search for it. I just forgot the name of Apple's App Store. Forgive me if you will. And as you can see, I just connected to the 5G gateway using my cell phone right here. It's going to give you that same readout. So you're going to see that my connection right now is really not that good. It's the same readout that's on the gateway. So you can go ahead and connect to Wi-Fi and check your status right from your phone. You don't have to go to the actual gateway and kind of look at it yourself. You'll be able to see how many devices are connected. So you can see my Jabber's S22 Ultra is connected. And you can also manage a schedule as well. So if you wanted to create kind of like, I'd call this parental controls. You can disable when this device can actually use the internet. All you can do is disable a time when your kids can use the internet, or even if you wanted a device not to be able to phone home at certain times, you can go ahead and use this. Again, it's pretty simple, but you do have all the days of the week that you can go ahead and limit the internet access to whatever device you want to limit. You'll also be able to set up your SSID. So here's my SSID. You can change the password. And again, you cannot go ahead and switch the bands. You can only do a 5 gigahertz band or a 2 gigahertz or leave it at automatic. And with automatic, again, it's going to choose whichever device is on 2.4 and whichever device is on 5 gigahertz. Now, your results might vary. I did have one phone that did not want to connect for some reason, but all of my other devices connected without any problems at all. So I think they did a nice job. Again, if you want more advanced features, all you guys have to do is plug in another router. You probably already have one, so just go ahead and plug that in and play around with some of the settings yourself. And you can also hide the SSID if you want to. So this is a way that you can change some of the features on your 5G gateway itself. And support, you can go ahead and call customer care or whatnot. Now that's basically it, guys. I mean, you can see the advanced cellular metrics. If you wanted to go in and kind of see what tower you're connected to and what band you're connected to, you can go ahead and do that. You can also go ahead and reset your gateway. And speaking about resetting the gateway, I only had to do this once in my 1 month of testing. That's when I had about 25 devices connected and it kind of wigged out a little bit. I did have to reset it, but other than that, it's been working flawlessly. I never had to reset it, and that's definitely a huge improvement from the older 5G gateways that I tested from T-Mobile. With those ones, I definitely had to restart it every so often, so I'm very happy to see that they fixed whatever issue they needed to fix there. But that's basically it when it comes to the T-Mobile application. Another thing I do want to mention about T-Mobile's home internet, this is unlimited. No limits are based on the amount of data you can use. I did notice that during rush hour and during peak internet times, if you will, I did get a slower speed on the T-Mobile 5G gateway versus on my own phone. So I know T-Mobile's not really prioritizing home internet at the moment. They want to give people on their cell network the fastest speeds possible. Now that being said, guys, unless you're running a speed test every 5 or 6 minutes, you're not going to notice that slowdown. It just happens from time to time. So I did see it drop from about 300 megabits all the way down to probably about 60 or so. But if I had to put an average on my speeds, I'd put my speed at about 150, which I don't think is that bad at all. And the upload's always been about 40 or 50 as well. I'll show you some speed tests in a little bit, but that's just one thing I wanted to note about deprioritization. You are going to get less speeds on this device versus on your cell phone, but it is unlimited, truly unlimited. You can use as much data as you want, and I've definitely used a lot of data. Now, a couple notes I do want to mention before we get into a couple more of my thoughts on T-Mobile's 5G gateway. Don't listen to T-Mobile's reps. They're going to say anything to get you to sign up. One way to find out if your speed's going to be fast enough, if you are using T-Mobile, do a speed test on your phone and then kind of chop off 1/3. Then you're going to be able to find an average speed of what you should expect. Another thing that T-Mobile reps are going to tell you guys that's absolute fake news. Do not pay attention to them when they say your security cameras are going to work. That's only half true. If you're using like a Eufy cam or using a Blink cam that has its own cloud service to connect to your camera, then yes, it is going to work. But if you do have a straight TCP IP camera that just uses the IP protocol over the internet, that is not going to work unless you're in your home network. And Plex isn't going to work as well, which is kind of a big deal for me. I do have my own Plex server, and I'm only able to get about 2 megabits up remotely. Again, if you're in your home network, if you're using your LAN, no problems at all. You're going to have full strength from your Plex server. But if you're out and about trying to connect to your home network, you're definitely going to be limited. And that's because of the protocols that T-Mobile uses. They use CNAT. And basically CNAT is going to give one IP address to multiple people, kind of like a spider web. So each Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to have that same IP address, but it does know how to route your internet traffic. And that's the reason why you can't do port forwarding. And that's the reason why you can't connect directly to your TCP IP cameras or to your Plex server. Now in terms of IP address, I did notice it stayed the same at least for about a week or so. Sometimes it changed a couple times a day. I don't actually know what their algorithm is to have it change or not. But for the most part, whenever I checked my IP address, it was the same from what I remembered. But again, it's not a static IP, it's dynamic, so it is going to change whenever T-Mobile wants it to change. I want to explain my current setup before we go ahead and show you some more on-the-fly speed tests and whatnot. I do have a Wi-Fi 6 router that I have connected to T-Mobile's all-in-one solution just because there's a lot of interference where I am, and there's a lot of networks, and the T-Mobile router just was not able to push that signal where I need it to get to. And that's nothing against the T-Mobile all-in-one. I actually tried it out in my house and it worked really, really well. But I wanted to try it out here in the office because I have a lot more devices connected. As you can see, I have 33 devices connected right now. And I'll let you know how that's been going with T-Mobile's connection. Even with this gaming router, which I think is pretty powerful enough, I still needed to create a mesh network just because it's still not getting where I need it to get to once again. So I do have a mesh network set up even with this big tri-band gaming router. So that's nothing against T-Mobile's all-in-one. It's just a lot of interference where I am. But enough about that. If you live somewhere out in the country or you're in suburbia and you have the T-Mobile all-in-one, I'm pretty sure you're going to get to at least a two-story house without any problem. So let's continue on with this review of T-Mobile's internet connection. Let's just do a speed test as we're talking about it. So this is what you're going to see, guys. You're going to see the range of about 150. I've gotten all the way up to about 350, 360 megabits up. But in most situations, it kind of stays around the 100 to 150. In the early morning or the late at nights, I can see it push up to 350. But for the most part, I'm going to say I've stayed around 150, maybe about the 200 mark at the highest. And that's been pretty consistent where I am here in Midtown. And the upload speeds have been pretty consistent around 40. Again, With T-Mobile's home internet connection, nothing is guaranteed, so you're going to have some speeds that change, some speeds that might be faster or slower. I even got a speed that was around 40 megabits down, and that definitely was not too good. This is not my first rodeo, guys. I have tried out version 1, I've tried out version 2, and both of those versions just did not cut it when it came to my internet needs. But I'm very happy to say that with these speeds being consistent around the 150, 200 mark, this is something that I could personally ditch Spectrum cable internet for, and that's what I've been searching for. I like a faster upload. I'm someone obviously who uploads a lot for YouTube and whatnot, so faster uploads is something that I value a little bit more than faster downloads. To be honest with you, I'm running these speed tests, and you'll see all my varying speed tests on the screen. You're not sitting at your house doing speed tests every 5 minutes, unless you're like me, and then you just kind of open up your phone when you're bored and do a speed test. But I have a lot of devices connected, guys. Once again, I have about 33 devices connected, and I don't have a couple TVs on at the moment. And I've never seen a slowdown. I've never not been able to watch any 4K content while someone else is watching other 4K content. So I think they're giving you a fast enough connection for multiple users in a household. I think this is a very stable connection. Loading up a video, you can see it starts very, very quickly. Again, this is a fast connection. No matter how you look at it, I still think anything over 100 is pretty fast. So you can go ahead and change that to 4K, and you can see that buffer line is really speeding up there. So no problems when it comes to 4K. Let's just check out the new range with Doug DeMuro. You can see it starts playing right away, guys. So again, even though sometimes you might get high latency, you really start these videos really quickly when it comes to watching multimedia and whatnot. I always like to go to Disney.com as well, because that really loads a lot of images, and there's a lot going on with Disney's website. So let's just see how fast that loads. And you can see it loaded just about everything, and I'd say about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds. So that's definitely fast in my eyes as well. All of these speed tests that I've shown you are with 33 clients actively connected to this connection. I don't want to show you a connection that has nobody connected, because that's not real life. That's not real usage. Anybody can just connect one device, do one speed test, and show you, wow, this is fast. I want you to see how the T-Mobile home internet connection and the T-Mobile network does under pressure with a lot of clients trying to get access to different things. When it comes to torrenting, you do need a VPN still. I haven't gotten this to work just on a straight connection with T-Mobile, and the same goes on my phone. I think they are blocking it now. But VPNs work fine. Connect a VPN, connect a proxy, and you can torrent to your heart's content. Same goes with Kodi or any other services that you guys might want to use. No problems on T-Mobile's connection. And I have been using iTV as well. Streams fine. Everything has been working really, really flawlessly. I am very happy with T-Mobile home internet. If you have this in your area, again, my advice would be run a speed test on your phone if you have T-Mobile, see what you're getting, and kind of decrease it by a couple notches, and that's what you can expect to get from T-Mobile home internet. I think this is now a very, very viable solution for those of you that want to get rid of Spectrum, that want to get rid of any other carrier that you have, like Blue Ridge. Shout out to Blue Ridge. You guys definitely suck. But I do think that if you get a decent connection, and again, it's been constant at 170, which for me, I think is plenty for a bunch of people in your house. I think this is a great option now. I can definitely recommend it. The reason why I did not show you this at my home is because I'm only getting about 10 megabits down at my home. The connection is not that great of T-Mobile where I live, so that's why I figured I might as well bring it to the office, which brings me to the last point. T-Mobile says this is a one location type of device, but my home is definitely about 100 miles away from my office. And it's been working fine here for the past 3 weeks, so I think you can move it around with you. And I have heard people say that they take it with them when they go camping and when they go various locations. So as long as you don't abuse it, I think you can go ahead and use this wherever you go. Now, a couple of you have asked me in the past if you can take this on a long ride in a camper. If you're one of those people, let me know down in the comments below. If you've just plugged this in your camper or your 18-wheeler and you're traveling the country with T-Mobile's home internet, I think that'd be super cool. Now, I'm a geek, so I think that's pretty cool. I'm geeking out on that already. But this is a great solution to end out the video, guys. If you're looking for an awesome, awesome service, and it is available, and you can pull these fast speeds, T-Mobile home internet is finally an option I would highly suggest you guys consider. And what's to lose? You get a 2-week or 1-month trial, depending on their current promotion. Test it out for 2 weeks, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, send that shit right back. And if it works for you, you're going to be happy with it. Again, as long as you know those caveats of not being able to run a fast Plex server, your TCP/IP cameras, an OpenVPN server, unless you're advanced and you can go ahead and play with it. You have your own computer server at home and you can just play around with some of the settings and do whatever you guys need to do. But for the average plug and play user, this is a great solution. Am I going to keep T-Mobile's internet service, guys? Unfortunately, I wish I could. If it wasn't for port forwarding, if it wasn't for not being able to kind of connect to my IP cameras, I definitely would keep this because I think you're getting some really great speeds and it definitely is stable enough now that you could use this as your home internet connection. And I'd even say you could use it as your office connection as well. It really is that stable, at least here in New York City. But because I can't have port forwards, because I can't really use my Plex server when I'm out and about, and because I can't use my Deeper Connect DPN, which is my free VPN, I'll leave a link to that down below if you're interested in that. That's a reason why this is going back. I really wish that T-Mobile would kind of let us do some port forwarding, and then I would keep this device. Then I would sign up for a fourth time. But that's been my thoughts on it. If you're looking at this device, I think it's a very great solution, even if you have a lot of devices connected. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. Really appreciate you guys watching. Thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you in another video.